Oh no, no devices on this trip.
What do you mean?
This is an unplugged road trip. No phones, no iPads, no internet. Everyone, hand over your devices.
You tricked us!
It's a pleasure to see you two again.
Likewise.
Because several years ago, I saw two gems with two young people who were just starting out. That Thing You Do, and of course, Clueless. Totally unexpected how much I love them. So I'm beginning by thanking you for doing
Thank
that.
you for saying that.
It's great to see you again. But
Likewise.
naturally, you want to talk about what's happening currently. Let's think of this as talking about ensemble acting. Because really, even though it's a comedy that really goes far out in many cases, it still is about an ensemble, is it not?
It is, and we had to do a lot of stuff that was the entire family in one frame together, playing off of each other, reacting, and you have to figure out what that dynamic is with each other and what the relationships are.
Now, of course, I know what you mean by that, but just make it clear. In many cases, that wouldn't be the case. It'd be a million different shoots, maybe even shot on different days, maybe even when somebody else wasn't even around, and it would all be put together.
So you can't really avoid doing ensemble work in this kind of film because you don't have the luxury of being able to shoot it 1,000 different ways. You know, we have kids; they can only work a certain number of hours.
That's
we have
right.
to do stuff in daylight. We didn't have a ton of, you don't have endless daylight, and there was a lot of physical comedy that we had to perform together, which also requires a lot of timing and chemistry.
You're the matriarch, really, in a way. If you'll forgive me, Tom. Everything centers on that character's wishes.
Yes.
And
that relationship's so funny, how he's the slightly beaten.
Yeah.
Like you're just always like,
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally, yeah.
somehow it looked all familiar. I had the feeling there could be many fathers
I heard
taking
some in the
their
audience
kids in
going
there.
like, oh, that's me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, truly, yeah. And there was a lot of that direction was like, no, you're miserable. You'd be miserable here. That's the truth.
Quit trying to be charming. You're just miserable.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll work. It'll work.
Right.
You have to be the person constantly demanding, but we have to keep loving her.
Yeah.
So, were you always trying to keep that in mind in terms of your playing it, to walk that fine line?
Well, I think that her intentions are so pure. She loves her family, and she really, I had a whole thing with Tom's character as my husband, that she gets really mad at him for he lets her down, and she's lonely, and she wants to be a family. And then when he comes to her rescue, she's like, she's so happy because she wants to be connected to him, and she wants to be connected to her family. She wants to have the best life possible, and right now it's just all stinking. He's working all the time, not paying any attention to her at all. The kids are totally on their devices and have no interest in being a family, so it's so important to her, and the stakes are very high. So I think those intentions are pure and sweet and kind, and then that makes for all the comedy.
And also, Tom, that means that you can target your attention clearly underneath all of the irritation, the frustration, and what have you. You just want to please this person. And if we don't buy that, we don't buy this whole thing.
This is a movie about a 21st century man trying to just get some time alone with his wife.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's too many damn kids
Nothing
around.
that we do
There's
could
a-
ever be right.
There's a moment where I'm upset, and his answer to the whole thing is and he walks away, and
Yeah.
I'm like, that's amazing, because that's awful. But it's,
Yeah, right.
But it's perfect.
But sometimes that's the mantra.
Yeah, what can you do? You're like, are you okay? You're genuinely concerned. I tell you a thing, and you're like, okay. Because
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. I guess Frank Heffley's just overwhelmed, and you can't.
It's a pleasure to talk to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I'm
you.
Patrick Stoner.